on intentionality, or what is it for, equals what does it do. There exists a tendency in various discourses to insist and to theorize from this place that patriarchy is just some grand mistake or misunderstanding. The evidence on which this conclusion is based is never quite spelled out, and in fact does not appear to exist, as it flies in the face of the actual, real evidence, which leaves its adherents with essentially the status of cult members, does it not? More on that below. So, the mistake believers, or cultists, tend to advocate educating men and anti-feminist women to induce feminist change, or they insist that just as women aren't naturally fuckholes and slaves for men, that men also are not naturally dick-sticker-inners or sexual, reproductive, and domestic slave owners. The poor male babies. They are just mistaken, you see, misguided, acted upon. It's not their fault, because reasons which have nothing to do with intentionality or design. Now, I'm not saying that men are or aren't naturally anything, behaviorally speaking. Who can prove that, after all? I am saying that it is highly probable that women's twisted, victimized servitude, or femininity, if you will, isn't our natural state. Let us feminists concentrate on women for a moment, shall we? We feel this dissonance, this incongruousness strongly, and indeed the evidence would suggest that because women as a sexual class hold neither the power nor the resources to build a local, regional, or global culture that reflects ourselves back to us, that our culture does not, in fact, reflect ourselves back to us. The fuckholeness, the servitude, is not us. While currently impossible to prove, we speculate that this is true, but it is not baseless speculation. The evidence suggests we are right. The evidence of our lack of power and resources to create something reflective of or congruous with us being, well, our actual lack of those things. The same cannot be said of men, of course, and whether or not culture, let's just say patriarchy instead of culture, shall we, it's the same damn thing, is reflective of men's values, tendencies, preferences, and solutions. They created it, after all. In fact, in the case of men, the evidence would tend to show the opposite of what it shows for women, that it's in fact highly probable that men's violent, destructive, and dominant role is their natural state, or reflective of men on whatever level. That patriarchy does reflect men's values, tendencies, preferences, and solutions. That patriarchy and the utter destruction, degradation, and decimation of women, and of pretty much everything for that matter, is congruent with men's Z. If you don't like the word nature, then don't use it. Call it Z, or green eggs and ham, for all I care. Or refer to it by its elements, values, tendencies, preferences, solutions. It doesn't change what it is. Now, I would like to propose a thought exercise to highlight the difference between intentionality and coincidence. Coincidence connotes unintentionality, or unrelated by cause or effect. Mary Daly talked about causation and intentionality. We discussed it here and here, where she noted that once an outcome is known, any continuance to produce that outcome is intentional. Unintentional pregnancy within the penis in vagina as sex paradigm might be the most obvious. It's also a reversal. Daly chose to talk about men surgically lobotomizing women, knowing that the surgery removed all of women's creativity and made them good housekeepers. The psychosurgeons can, did, and do wax poetic all day about lobotomizing women as a cure for this, that, and the other. But it cannot be denied that they were intentionally creating brain-damaged fembots to clean house and be compliant semen receptacles for men. If they didn't like or want that outcome, they would have stopped doing it. So regarding intentionality versus coincidence, think kitchen gadgets for starters. Does anyone think this is a coincidence? Lots of people need to open cans, and coincidentally, a handheld device appears with 2 rotary cutting blades that neatly accomplishes that very thing. Coincidence, or was it intentional? Or take a look at this. Assuming you recognize it as a garment, it could also be used for other things, I suppose. Through simple observations of this object's physical characteristics, you get a very good idea about some of the physical characteristics of its intended user. How many fingers do I have? Please don't tell me this was a mistake, okay? I'm not hearing it. Now, objects might be a bit different from systems, so let's go there. Some systems just exist, like some objects just exist, and they don't really do anything. Like a rock exists of its own accord, without being a specifically functional object. Some systems just exist. Sometimes you just make observations about what they do, like this, the solar system. It's not really for anything, or anything that we know about. It just is. And no, I would not say that this is a life support system for humans, even though it functions as one. Like a rock isn't a hammer, exactly. Some systems just exist naturally, and you make observations about what they do, and from that you can also make conclusions about what they are for, like this. The respiratory system. What it does is what it's for. What it does is oxygenate the bloodstream. What it's for is oxygenating the bloodstream. In the case of the human respiratory system, these things are the same. Like the solar system, it's a functional design, but one that works toward an end, rather than merely staying out of its own way. Some systems are created by people, men more specifically. Like all systems, these systems do stuff. And like some systems created by nature, all systems created by humans were created for stuff, to solve a problem or fulfill a need, like this. A U.S. highway system gets you from here to there, usually via terrestrial vehicle or walking to a lesser extent. It seems that systems were created by humans to do stuff because reasons that have everything actually to do with intentionality. What they do is what they are for, otherwise why bother? So, if we agree that patriarchy is a system, is it? Created by humans. It was, if men are considered human. If we want to know what it's for and to consider issues of intentionality, functionality, and design, the question we have to ask ourselves about patriarchy, I guess, is what does it do? Acknowledge what it does, and you will know what it is for, and that it's not a mistake, far from it, and that it probably adheres to certain physical realities as well. Think glove, or skyscraper. I maximize rental income for the property owner, among other things. And note, for example, that the U.S. highway system is built horizontally and adheres to physical principles and isn't made of gallons and gallons of chocolate pudding, because reasons. It also occurs to me that the solar system is essentialist. It just is, and that patriarchy, while still a system, is more like the U.S. highway system than it is like the solar system.